Okay, last section for this chapter, the method section. It's pretty dang straightforward, but people make a lot of mistakes. What I'm going to do is walk you through the parts of the methods section, but really the best thing I can do is show you a methods section written by another student, as well as a methods section from a real paper. So let's walk through the sections. The nice thing about the methods section is that it's comprised of pretty consistent bits. Three parts: the participants, the materials, and the procedure. The participant section tells the reader everything they need to know about the sample of the study. So the sample size, how people were sampled, why they were sampled that way. You want to make sure that it's obvious what the population was, and so how you gathered that sample should accurately reflect that population. The participant section is also going to describe any demographic information about the people. So usually a participant section might look like this. A group of 94 uh, college students were gathered in return. Let me try again. A group of 94 college students participated in the current research study in return for college credit. The group consisted of 47% male, average age 19, 75% Caucasian students from a major Midwestern college. So that gives you basically the sample size and a good idea of what sort of students we're working with here, what demographics we're working with here. You don't always need to report demographics, like we've talked about in previous sections. If there is no reason for you to gather demographic information, then it's actually a unnecessary violation of privacy to gather that information. You just want to gather the minimum amount of information that you need for your research study. But there's nothing wrong with saying 55 students from a local college participated for college credit. Students' demographics reflected those of a common Midwestern college. And so in that way you can say, well, you have some idea of what sort of people were participating, but I don't want to give you unnecessary information, or we didn't gather participant information. Next up, materials. The materials section should talk about what materials you used in the study. So we just spent this whole chapter talking about the materials. Now, a lot of times when people write the material sections, they want to put stuff down like a pen and a clipboard and a computer. You do not need to do that. But instead, you should talk about, say, what tests or surveys people were given, why the surveys were made that way, where did they come from, whether or not you put the survey together yourself, and why you put it together that way. So, like I said, you don't need to say all the things that they actually used. You need to talk about the materials that are pertinent to the research, the things that people need to know about to potentially consider the results for the study. Finally, the procedure, and that's the simplest and often longest part of the methodology section. In that case, you talk about what happened in the study. It should be in chronological order. So, uh, first you'll say participants were recruited using an online research study recruitment system. People signed themselves up. When they arrived for the study, they completed a consent form. Then we had them memorize a series of words. Then they took the memory test. Then we gave them a debrief and we sent them home. That's a very cursory way of doing it, but you get the idea. It's the procedure. Really not too much there. Alright, and that's going to be it for this week. Lots of details, lots of little things that can drastically affect your research. Now, you guys are going to be gathering data here pretty soon. Not this week, but I think the next week. So be aware of this stuff, but you don't need to think about it too carefully. The important part is to make sure that you modify your research materials whenever you can. Improve them as you go along, because they're never going to be perfect the first time around. I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you have any questions about research materials or how you can gather data on something, feel free to let me know. The more you learn about how research works, the easier it is, or the more familiar you will get in gathering data about really specific things. Anyway, have a wonderful day.